Welcome to the Bicycle Diaries and welcome to day 3 here in Italy. Looks like we've been sharing our hotel with Team Sunweb.
Yeah,
so tell us about your bike.
it's very abnormal bike. Everybody's watching it, and I'm feeling very well riding it. No, it's very good. It's very stiff, and
what's unusual about it?
yeah, it's the wood. It's the material. Yeah,
It's made of wood?
Yeah, because always the people talk me what about when it's raining, when so on, and they say the roof of every house is made of wood and 200, 300 years old. So you don't have to be afraid, or you have to be it's
it's a
you can have
proper
fun.
wooden bike, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not made to look like something else.
it's
proper wood.
wood inside and outside, and it's whole inside, so it's made of 2 big pieces. Yeah, CNC phrasing, you know, if you
Yeah.
so, and then put it together, all the components.
Fantastic.
Tried it, very nice.
Christian told me yesterday that if he damages the bike, all he has to do is to wait for a little time and
Yeah.
it grows back.
You have to give them water, so
But woodworm is a problem as well, apparently.
Well, here we are. We're barely 200 meters into this ride, and we've already seen Team Sunweb and a man riding a very nice looking wooden bike. I think the plan today is to do a 45 kilometer ride on what they call the Salt Road. It's a pan flat piece of road between here and a town up the coast, so shouldn't be too difficult. The only challenge is the weather. It's a bit cold and a little bit windy, but we'll have a tailwind coming back because we're heading north, and the wind should be blowing us back on the way back to the hotel. We're out riding with our guide Giancarlo again, and he's told us in no uncertain terms to stay in short order, which means stay together as a group. I think this was actually meant for Tim, because as you can imagine, he just wants to lead the group, and that was certainly the case yesterday. We were sort of roaring off, and I think the speed was a bit too high for poor old Giancarlo. He is 76. It's really strange to believe that less than 24 hours ago this was the start area and the finish line of the Giro D'Italia, and there's literally not a trace of it today. Yeah, but I watch my wheels here because I'm likely to go base over apex on these slippery tile things. So we've got a slight change of plans. We've been riding for about 40 minutes on our way to the Salt Road, but little did I know we were going to watch the start of today's stage of the Giro as well, and apparently we don't have enough time to do the Salt Road and watch the Giro, so we're going to ride straight to the Giro and then pick up the Salt Path later. Looks like we're riding through another little Italian seaside town. which to me looks exactly like Cesenatico, but oddly enough reminds me a bit of Bognor Regis, only with slightly better roads. Here we are in Cervia to watch the start of today's stage of the Giro. It seems as if it's a lot less busy than it was in Cesenatico yesterday, so it should be a bit easier to get around.
Siamo quindi pronti per cominciare a raccontare una storia diversa. La tappa numero 13 si parte da Cervia, si arriva a Monselice, 192 km.
9, 8, 7,
6, 5,
4, 3, 2, 1, parte la 13ª frazione del Giro d'Italia. Questa è passione, questo è amore infinito.
Well, that was pretty cool watching the start of today's stage of the Giro, and if anything it might have been slightly better view than the finish yesterday. As you saw, we were right up close to the riders there. In fact, Peter Sagan was just the wrong side of the road for us. He was only about 5 meters away though. He was there, you know, you could see him clear as anything. Pretty cool. My understanding of today's ride is, now that we've watched the start of the Giro, we're heading towards the Salt Road, and then we're actually going to head back to Cesenatico, back to the hotel. It's going to be about 25 k's pan flat with the wind behind us. But like I say, Giancarlo has specifically told us to stay together. I suspect he was talking directly to Tim at that point. And that, boys and girls, I suspect was today's climb, all 5 meters of it. What we're riding through now are called salinas, which are basically man-made lagoons which they flood and then let the seawater evaporate, and then they harvest the salt. Salt's still a very important commodity here in this part of Italy, and what we're riding on now is known as the salt path. And traditionally this was how they took the salt produced here all the way up to Venice, about 300 kilometers away. And then obviously from there it was shipped right across the ancient world. Probably can't see them because the lens on this GoPro is so wide, but just over there are flamingos. Apparently at the moment they're white, and they'll go pink when they eat the prawns and the shrimps and the things in the water here. just on 40 kilometers in now, and we're turning back to Cesenatico. Got a nice tailwind, probably about 30 k's back, and I'm guessing that will take us more or less an hour with this tailwind. Well, that's us back in Cesenatico. Super fast there. We were like cruising along at like 35 kilometers an hour at times. I sat on the wheel of Giancarlo and he just pedals away. He's so strong, and yeah, his legs are just going up and down, real high cadence. So there we go, that's 53 kilometers in the bank of fitness today. Nothing too strenuous, absolutely pan flat, apart from maybe 5-10 meters of climbing up that little bridge. The run back into Cesenatico was pretty good fun because we just flew along there. Lovely tailwind, great scenery, yeah, great day on the bike.
Siamo arrivati.
Ottimo,
Domani ancora un giro sulle colline romagnole.
ottimo. Quanti chilometri?
Domani quello che vogliamo, 60, 80, 100.
Oh!
No,
The
100
100.
no.
No, 100 no, ok.
60.
60. Ottimo.
Ottimo.
Caro,
A domani.
grazie.
Prego.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Grazie,
Ciao.
ciao. A domani.
A domani. Adesso le 2 vedi fra.
I must admit that I kind of lost my bearings on this ride. Looking at Relive, I can see that we went up, down and then back up on ourselves again before heading back into town via a more inland route. I was also very surprised how early it was when we arrived back at the hotel at about 1 o'clock. Again, something must have been lost in translation, as an afternoon off the bike had been planned for us.
Well, here we are, it's Friday afternoon. We've got a nice little excursion planned. We're off to the Marco Pantani Museum.
Here at the museum, you get a very small insight into the life and achievements of Cesenatico's most famous son, and I get the feeling that the town is very proud of this connection.
And here we have Marco Pantani's first ever bike, 1982.
For me, Marco Pantani was one of the key riders that I followed back in the late 90s, along with cyclists like Mario Cipollini and Jan Ullrich. Seeing things like his bike, cycling kit and other intensely personal items was a great privilege, although it would have been much better if the information with them had been in English and not just in Italian. Although a somewhat controversial figure, there's no denying that he still won both the Giro D'Italia and the Tour de France in the same year, 1998.
And now we're off to have a look at Pantani's tomb.
Marco died just down the Adriatic coast in a hotel room in Rimini in February 2004, aged 34, and is buried in the family tomb in Cesenatico cemetery. It's very strange to think that for a brief moment while I stood there, it was just El Pirata and me. In life, he was a great climber on the bike, but even in death, the tomb has been built so that he will still be ascending to that great bike ride in the sky. And now we're going to have a look at the statue of Marco Pantani that's on the seafront here at Cesenatico. Pantani's death will always be shrouded in mystery. Officially, it was due to a drugs overdose, but it was never clear, at least in my eyes, the exact nature of those drugs. At the time of his death, his mental health was at an all-time low, so one can only imagine where the truth lies. Love him or hate him, at least here in his hometown, he's remembered with great affection. Tim and I have just walked to this little cafe that's actually run by Marco Pantani's sister, so we're going to have something to eat here and then walk back to the hotel to complete our Marco Pantani experience for the day. So we're actually inside the little cafe now, and we thought that the waitress serving us was the sister of Marco Pantani, but it turns out that the lady out the back making the piadinas that we're going to eat is actually his sister. So there you go, but in the meantime we're going to be drinking some Marco Pantani Pirata beer.
Salute Marco Pantani. Questo molto buono. Actually, that is really nice beer. From a Yorkshireman, that's saying something. Wonderful. Salute.